Have you ever met a saint? Actually, we do hope that all of us have met saints. That means our grandparents, our deceased moms and dads, brothers, sisters are with God in heaven, right? That's what a saint is someone who's with God in heaven. But we have this idea, this colloquial term that a saint is also someone who lives on earth, who's close to God, right? I had a chance to meet a saint once. John Paul II. St. John Paul II. I was invited to his papal office. I was invited by Bishop Grauman to join him during his visit with the Holy Father. And I was introduced to the Pope, just briefly. Your Holiness, this is one of our seminarians, Jason Cargo. And then I knelt down and I kissed his ring. That means I'm a third-class relic, right? At least for a few moments until those skin cells died and fell off my skin. But you know, people will say about meeting Pope John Paul II that they'll say that when they witnessed him in prayer, there was a glow. There was like a sense of warmth or peace when they prayed with him. I don't know if you've heard those stories, but they're really regular. You'll see them, at least during the time I was in Rome and the Holy Father was there. You'd hear these stories about him celebrating Mass in the private papal chapel, and people would be there with him, and they sense this glow, this holiness about him. Now, this isn't necessarily just for someone as great as St. John Paul II, but people here in Dallas are saintly. I remember hearing confessions outside at St. Joseph a couple years ago and was exhausted after hearing, 15, 20 confessions. And then the next person started to approach, and all of a sudden I felt this peace and this warmth and this love as if it was radiating out of a generator of some sort. And then the person, and it just got closer and closer until the person knelt down, and I just felt like I was basking in this warmth. And then the person made a confession. I can just only say, I don't remember anything specific, but I think they were more attachments than they were sins. And then the person left. And that glow and that peace and all that those sense of sanctity kind of left with that person. And I was left in the confessional crying, like, what just happened? Right? Never have I had that happen before. What was that? That was the glory of God. When someone had aligned themselves so closely to God's will, they were emanating the glory of God. This isn't just for unique people, but it can be for all of us. You know, the closer we are with God, the more joyful we are. Doesn't mean we're laughing all the time, right? Doesn't mean we're just cracking jokes all the time, although that could be. A lot of saints are jokers. But it means that there's a positivity, there's a sense of joy, because we know that we're created for God, that we're close to Him, that we're loved by Him. We have purpose and meaning in our life. We can see the opposite, certainly. The farther someone drifts from God and the greater they do, we can see a kind of a darkness envelop them, right? And oftentimes you'll see this in teenagers as they question God's reality and stop practicing the faith, and even their clothes will change and their demeanor changes, and then their whole constitution changes because they're being deprived of the glory of God. This glory of God obviously is something we are looking forward to in eternity. But as we heard in the responsorial psalm, the glory of God dwells in our land. I gave a couple examples in my own life, but the glory of God dwells in your house. He dwells in my house. I'm not necessarily speaking of the edifice of a building. I'm speaking of who we are. Do you believe that? That the glory of God dwells in you? What happens when we're baptized? We become tabernacles of the Holy Spirit, right? We become God bearers, kind of similar to the Blessed Mother, in the way that she carried Jesus with being a tabernacle of the Holy Spirit and set aside being sacred as a Christian person. We become bearers of God to one another as well. This is something that, as Catholics, oftentimes we don't think enough about. It's a privileged place, and it's an amazing and awesome place. The more that we think about it, actually, hopefully the more we'll be drawn to be able to live so connected to God and avoid things that will keep us from Him. Many of you were here last night during the healing service. For those of you who weren't, you saw an extraordinary sight. A simple man who's ordained a priest prayed over people. And amazing things began to happen as he prayed over them. The glory of God became present here at this place. Someone, actually one of you who are here, told me that sitting in the back, that this kind of resembles the multitudes that would have gone to Jesus asking for prayer on the shore of Galilee, as they lined up, patiently waiting for just the touch of Jesus, right? Just that Jesus would be able to heal them of whatever was ailing them, or that Jesus would be able to heal their loved one, whatever was ailing them. The glory of God, the grace of God, the magnanimity of God, the love of God, which we can be caught up into this when we are focusing on being united with Him. It's amazing. It's glorious. And it's one that you and I should stake our life on and live our life for.